What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm J-Lag.
And I'm NB.
And this episode is recapping, reviewing Riverdale Season 5, Episode 5, and it's called Chapter 81, It's a Homecoming.
And don't forget, guys, stick around for the ending of the podcast because we're going to go through our recap roundups, our best moments, our best lines. You already know which one was my best moment. So stick around for the end of the podcast for that. And hopefully we had time to get their recap roundups because we're recording this like right quick.
Like real quick. Like we'd be doing it
quick
today.
turnaround.
We'd be doing it right now.
So stay tuned for that, guys.
And as always, to our continuing listeners and our brand new ones, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into the episode, y'all.
Let's get into it. It was, What did you think? Like right off the top?
I liked it. I think that
second episode of the flash forward, like.
Yeah, I think that's exactly how it felt. Second episode of the flash forward, lots of things were kind of like everything's building, right? Everything's still like kind of coming together.
They're setting it up.
We got like a moment of all moments, like legendary, iconic. Like this is the moment that we've all been waiting for 5 seasons later. I just want to skip to that realistically, but yeah, what did you think of the episode?
You know what? I really liked it. There was kind of like this calmness, like this kind of slow pace, and I was like, I'm not gonna complain. I'm gonna sit in this and I'm gonna enjoy this. And you know, having Pop's retirement party and like oh wait, I want to actually share with you guys. I read this quote and I was like, truly, this is what this episode felt like. It's from at A Zalbin on Twitter, and I think he's like a writer or like a recapper or something, but he said Riverdale continues the role it started with last week's episode, bringing back the emotionally grounded basics from season 1 while still mixing a bit of the requisite Riverdale ridiculousness in the best way. And I honestly, I felt like this episode was exactly that. They were taking things from like the pilot episode and just season 1
kind of mixing it in
and like bringing that kind of hominess back to what the show was about.
Totally.
So I loved it. And then of course, you know, we get our little over there in the little ending.
a little bit of ooh. Yeah. So excited to talk about it with you.
Yeah,
I thought it was a great
episode.
Let's get into it. So it starts off just the way last episode started, you know, but now Jughead is narrating and he kind of covers off what everybody's doing. You know, Betty's in the FBI. Veronica is living in New York. Archie went to the army. Tony's working as a counselor and she's pregnant. And he was like, it's like we were distracting ourselves, focus on Riverdale and fixing Riverdale because we are about to have all these awkward conversations. Cut to all the awkward conversations between both couples.
It was awkward.
Oh boy, that was such an awkward thing to watch.
Yeah, it really. God. I was like, "Damn, you guys are strangers."
Like, yeah,
and
like
it
they
was
don't know
funny because like
anybody.
there's a scene where like they're kind of walking home, and it's they shot where they've walked home before together.
Yes,
and it's like. Guys, you guys are
as
so
a couple
awkward. Yeah, as a couple. And now it's like Archie was like, you have your ring's huge. Like, I'm like, oh my God, time has passed so much. Yeah.
It was kind of cool. And like you said, I think we said it last episode too, and I said it in the episode before, like not having that break kind of doesn't let us sit with the fact that we didn't get that full-time jump, you know, like the 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
We would have been able to kind of get that feeling of the distance. But I mean, it worked, right? Like I'm still down for it. So it starts off with Jughead and Betty walking and talking, and she mentioned something about his book and how, you know, the last time they had a conversation was during his book launch, and he sent her a text and she thought that was it. Like after that conversation that they were having, like it was over. And they don't really get into it, and maybe we can talk about it now because it does come up a little bit later. What do you think he said in this book that kind of ruined everybody's relationship with him?
I think we're gonna find out, and I'm really intrigued by that because I think it does show that like he did change along the way. And did he sell himself a little bit to sell his book?
Friends?
Yeah, maybe he did a little bit. Is he like, but later on it sounds like he didn't mean to do it that way. He was like, no, I didn't like offend you guys, and like
do anything.
Yeah, but like it came off like that. So I'm so intrigued, and like I want to see what he actually said about everyone and like, you know, how he told that story.
For sure, because she seemed like she was hurt, like, but also like, was he angry at her? Like, I wasn't really sure where she was coming from either. Like, maybe she was retaliating. Anyway, so she basically says after this whole, after Pop's retirement, I'm going to go back to Quantico. And she says like it's good to see you, Jughead Jones, even though it's a little bit weird. So at least they acknowledge the fact that they're being weird with each other. They've never been the type of people to be like tiptoeing around each other's emotions so much. I mean, maybe not the end of their relationship, but for the most part, they're pretty honest. So I thought I liked seeing them kind of at least have that banter back and forth. Then it goes to Archie and Veronica walking and talking and catching up. And he basically does say that like he wasn't in a relationship since her, like a full
because she's like, come on, Archie, I know you like screwed so many girls. And he's like, actually, like no,
not really. Yeah. So yeah, essentially they just kind of catch up. And she says that she's gonna get back to her life once this is over. So everyone's kind of intending to leave after this episode, essentially, which obviously is not gonna happen. Then it cuts to the Cooper residence, and Alice is cleaning up his house because it is a full out mess because of these twins that she's taking care of.
So what did you think about that? Like having them all living there now?
I mean, it made sense to me. I was happy to see that, like, they bring Polly back into the fold somehow. She obviously gets home eventually, and the kids are there. It makes sense. I mean, Alice obviously like missing everybody else. It makes sense that she's not completely by herself.
I loved it just because I was like, this is sort of like, aside from like Archie's house, this is sort of like the home of Riverdale.
Yeah, totally.
And Pops, obviously, but like this is like someone's house. So I was so happy to see like that she's back, the twins are there, and like Polly is like in and out of the house, like whatever. So it made me feel a little bit more of like less awkward seeing everyone's awkward conversations. And I'm like, oh, okay, at least like she's
like at least this is house. Back. Yeah. At least she didn't sell it or put it up for rent.
Because they were supposed to sell it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was good to see it, even though it was in a bit of a mess because of the vibes. And she does mention that Polly's not home, so she's like a late shift worker. We don't really know like what's going on with her just yet. Then it shows really quickly Veronica getting home, Archie getting to the El Royale, and then Jughead is back in the bunker after all these years.
I was like, the bed must be like dirty. Like who's like changing those sheets? Yeah, like
crunchy.
There must be dust everywhere.
No, pass. So he's listening to his messages and everybody's looking for him. His agent's looking for him. The debt collectors are looking for him. So he's just like, click, erase. I'm going to pretend that.
Sorry, do we know why he has debt collectors? Is it because of his like student loans or is it something else that we don't know?
I think it's everything. I think it's just the fact that like he's like a broke ass writer. Like he hasn't bought it. Okay. He made one book and now they're looking for another one. Everybody's just like asking for shit from him.
Yeah.
So then it cuts to Kevin and Betty, and they are kind of catching up at the old location of the FBI like place. So
the
like
satellite
the place that she was
office.
Cleaning, the satellite office.
That's been there for 7 years that no one's cleaned out for 7 years.
Which is really funny because as she's catching up with Kevin, she like opens up this one folder and this one thing that was like from last season is just sitting there. So like a little tape. Which she puts into the tape recorder. I can't. And she puts it in, and it's her talking to Polly during Halloween, being like, "You psycho bitch, I fucking hate
I was wondering why that was the one cassette they were gonna play, and she was like, "You bitch," and Kevin's like, "Oh," she's like, "Yeah, Kevin, you? I said that to my sister last season."
That's tight, and I got it on tape. Like that's pretty rad. So obviously it's going to like, it's really trying to connect Polly. Like it all made sense as it was coming together. Then it cuts to Veronica talking to Hiram, and he's, I guess, in the mayor's office now. And she's basically saying like her and Chad are looking for like a side house in Riverdale. Like what's good? Like I'm like thinking of maybe like finding some space here.
Well, it was so okay, like I really had a hard time with Veronica's storyline this whole episode.
Yeah.
Because she does feel so disconnected from like everything in her life. Like even she comes in and he's like, "Oh, what do you want?" He's like, "I sold Le Bon Nuit, like it's been gone." She's like,
"Yeah,
you could have told me. Yeah. Hey, why don't you inquire? It's your business. Like you could have asked him, "Hey, where's like 7 years ago, you could have been like, what are you doing? But like, how did you just like be so out of your
so gone,
out of touch with your life and like your investments and stuff? Like that didn't make sense to me. And like she just blamed him. And it's like, okay, well, you should have been asking about it and you should have been inquiring. Number
right.
one.
And he does say, he was like, she's like, you sold it without telling me. And he's like, oh yeah, like you didn't tell me about your wedding to Chad.
Yeah. And I'm like,
I was like,
are you
how?
serious?
Okay. I'm like, no matter what happened between Hiram and Veronica, she would never not invite her dad. To her wedding unless she was ashamed of it. You know what I mean? Unless she didn't want anybody to know about it.
There are some things that like you just can't rewrite after the fact, right? And like, yeah, this marriage might like not be her end marriage, obviously, but like the fact that your dad never came to your wedding, like that's huge. That's a part of your story and your history, like that he's not even a part of. So what did he do? I'm sure we're gonna find out something from when that thing ended, like the flashback to now. They were okay. Like they weren't fighting. And she was telling him to go retire. And he was like, yeah, I'll go retire. So what happened in between the 7 years 100%. That like he wouldn't come to her wedding, that he wouldn't even tell her that like Le Bon Nuit is being sold. Like
that's some pretty extreme
really
stuff.
Big, yeah. Really
like
big,
completely
like
distant. Yeah. So disconnected. I was the most disappointed in that particular thing. And it kind of goes back to what we were saying at that graduation episode where she decides not to wear the pearls. Yeah. And I even said, I was like, you know, like, it's not like they hate each other. They're kind of like back on the same side.
And even
now.
if she had a scene at the end that said, I can't be like you, so I need to go do me. And maybe she did say that in some Riverdale-esque way, I guess. But sure. Like we need a bit more of it. Didn't feel like
there wasn't
that.
A follow through. Yeah. Really. Like it's not to the point where like you wouldn't invite your freaking dad to your wedding. Like, come on. Like it's not like he did something that was that bad that you guys were, you know, anyway. Hermosa also moved the business to Miami. I wasn't sure what business.
I didn't understand what he said.
The rum business? Was it the rum business? I don't know.
Maybe.
Anyway, she's gone. Obviously,
he's trying to be like she's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like off the payroll now. Like she's gone. So yeah, I was a little shocked about the fact that he didn't go to the wedding, but also like I think you even mentioned it last episode very briefly. Like that means that like none of the core four went to the wedding either. Like none of them even mentioned like any of that happening. So I'm like, that's pretty tight. Like that's the thing. 7 years is such a long time for things to be like a jump that you wouldn't even talk to someone about.
You
things
could
like
be
this.
The best of friends in high school and like whatever, but if you miss 7 years of your friend's life, like you haven't even called, like forget even just meeting up in the same town. You guys haven't even called to be like, are you alive? Are you good?
Are you dead? Yeah, exactly.
Like so it's pretty. Like they really created this really drastic like separation between these characters. Yeah.
Like considering like the core four meant shit clearly. It's like they all just broke up right after high school. Anyway, cutting back to the White Worm, Jughead is talking to Tony. He's like he's just out here trying to get a drink. And then Sweet Pea and Fangs roll up, and like it turns out everybody's pretty pissed about this book.
Yeah.
So he's like, what's going on? He's like, are you talking about the Vipers? Like, I guess that's the fictionalized version of the book. And she's like, yeah, you painted us in a really bad picture, and we were able to kind of read between the lines. Like everybody in the town knew what you were talking about when you were saying those things. Like it doesn't matter if it was fictionalized, like we knew. So it ends off with Tony basically saying, if you want some advice, watch your back, Jones. You made a lot of enemies in this town. So I was like, ooh, like what did he write in his book? And also, is Riverdale going to release this book so we can read it?
I love this whole storyline. And like just seeing how this episode ends, I'm really, really excited for how this is all coming together for Jughead.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. He's gonna have to make a choice.
He's gonna rewrite the town, and he's gonna do it justice, you know?
I mean, I hope so. Fingers crossed. Let's see how it all goes down. I don't know. I'm not I'm not as hopeful as you are. I'm like,
he's like, don't put that fate in Jughead's
No, not just yet. So then it cuts to Archie and Principal Weatherby, and Archie's like, I'm so excited to do like the army stuff.
First
like,
of all, guys, every time I see someone new in the flash forward, I'm like, you're still alive? Like nothing happened. Like you're good.
You look like, ageless, everyone. Like beautiful, like totally fantastic. Yeah. So he basically says like, I want to set up this recruiting thing, and Weatherby basically says that you know, there might not even be a school for you to be recruiting. So like just like hold tight. So then it cuts to the next scene where Kevin, Tony, Alice, and Principal Weatherby and Archie are all talking.
Love this whole
Tony's
group.
office.
Love everything about this group. I love it. I just love it.
They're all trying to figure things out, and it's such an uncommon group, right? It's like Tony, Alice,
you got Alice
like
there,
randomly,
the mom,
the mom, and then Archie, and then Principal Weatherby. And essentially they were saying that they don't have enough resources, they're not getting enough money, and they need a vote to make sure that they get funding, and if they lose this vote, then they basically lose the school. So things are pretty dire.
I don't know if I really I didn't buy the storyline because I was like, guys, this can't even be a real thing. Like,
it's not possible.
A mayor can't just come in and like
take down the town,
take your money and take your teachers and take your police officers. Like, poor Sheriff Keller was like, it's just me, bro. Like,
it's just me. That's it.
It's just me. I'm like, this can't happen though. Like, it's a little, it's really not a little, it's really far-fetched.
It's extremely far-fetched, but it's
Riverdale.
I guess we gotta
I guess crazier things have happened. So
right,
let me just
this is the one thing that you're like, this ain't realistic. Now you're clocking them. So then it cuts to the Pop's diner, and Jughead is talking to Tabitha, and he kind of low-key asked for a job.
Shout out to my favorite new character.
Shout out to Tabitha.
Shout out to, she was on screen for maybe 5 minutes in total, and she killed it. I was cracking up. She was so funny.
Yeah.
Her attitude, everything. She was cute and attitudey, and I could already see something happening between her and Jughead for sure.
Yeah.
I loved her. I was such a nice fresh face in Pop.
Character,
no hate, no hate to Pop, but it's time for you to move on now.
Yeah,
go to Florida, enjoy your life.
Go retire. I think she's such a great breath of fresh air. And I like the fact that she's kind of a no bullshit. She's changing up the rules.
And you know what? It's so funny that you said that because with Pop, he always helped Jughead, but she's I'm gonna call your shit out.
I'm not enabling. Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
Enable you. Yeah. Which is kind of good because maybe he needs that. He needs
totally
on a relationship level, even if you want to go that far. I don't know if it's a little too soon to say that, but on a relationship level, he needs someone to be stop your shit, stop your crying, sitting in a corner, living in a bunker, get your shit together and get your job and get your money and move. She's a working girl. Look at this girl owning and a place,
Totally. And if you want to compare it to even Betty, Betty was always his counterpart. She was always okay with him doing his crazy
whatever
things.
He wanted.
But this chick's more get real. You got to pay the bills and you got to get real with your life. So it's totally two very different personalities.
I love her vibe.
I love her. Yeah.
I think it's very different from the core four. It's very different from any other character that we've seen so far. I'm really interested in like you said, in this little small scene, she had just a few lines, and I was so living for this moment. I was this girl's so cool.
Yeah.
So I hope she has a really big part to play in the later episodes. Then it cuts to the White Worm, and Hiram pays a visit to Tony, and essentially he, she's already whatever you say, the answer is no. And he's what if I offer everybody at Riverdale a scholarship to Stonewall? And she's like, nope. And he's like, what if I tell you that there is a really sick counselor position at Stonewall? And she's like, still no, get the fuck out of here. And he's like, all right, I guess we're going to play hardball. So that's his kind of vouch to get her on his side.
Yeah.
Then it cuts to the Cooper residence. Archie and Betty are in her room and they're spying, and it's
really
because they say she says a really funny moment which goes all the way back to episode 1 where she's like, I can't believe you're on this side, way back when we would watch you through this window changing shirtless. I was like, oh my god,
yeah, I loved it. I loved it.
Shouting out to that first episode.
Yeah.
And he looks into the house with his binoculars, and he sees the ghoulies are selling drugs. There's some sort of drug deal happening, and Betty's like, well, I can help, I'm an FBI agent now, so I can help you out. And then it cuts to the sheriff's office, and like we were saying, Tom Keller is literally doing
like down and out. Like he's just doing like poor man, poor guy.
He is strapped for everything. He has like no officers out. It's literally just him.
He's like, I'm down to the last bone. My bone, like my bone is the
me. It's me.
It's me.
Oh my god!
Like you can't do that. Like the government would step in and be like, "You need another like sheriff. Like what's going on?"
Yeah, where's the governor?
Come on, yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. So
now if they said it where like he said like Hiram paid everyone to be on his side, that would have made more sense. Like everyone's corrupt basically, but like. He's literally saying there's nobody in the sheriff's office.
Like no one exists. Yeah. Like there's no crooked cops. There's just like no cops, like period statement.
He did say it. He's like Hiram has his own like mercenaries, but like
it's not the people that help the town at all. So then it cuts to he just keeps talking about how like Sodale's corrupt, like everybody there is corrupt.
Yeah.
And Archie thinks that he can talk to Reggie, but even Tom says like that might not be a good idea because like he literally works for Hiram. So like
Archie's like no. He's like my bro, like we're good.
He's good. We used to play football together.
Keller's like no, like he's not good anymore. He's like no, I got this, bro. I got it.
We good.
Sheriff Keller's like I don't know about that.
Yeah, so Archie's like, well, if it doesn't work out, then I am ready to fight. I'm like, Archie is always ready to fight. Like, what else has changed? Like, nothing. Like, he's always ready to fucking, like, punch somebody. Then it cuts to Veronica, and this scene was kind of cool. It was like a little montage moment where, like, she's on, like, a Zoom call with all these people.
I didn't get it. I didn't understand
I was very confused.
At all because... I was like, what is she trying to do? Like, she's trying to like get money, but she's like, hi. She's like, I'm applying for the position of sports agent. I'm like, what?
But it doesn't, like, but she doesn't like, that's the thing. She doesn't even say it. You get it from like a phone call. Like you get it through the screen. She was like, you're looking for that like sports agent. Like I could barely hear what she was saying the entire time. So apparently she is getting, I had to like go back and watch it again and check. Because I
texted Jalak and I'm like, she's becoming a sports agent. He's like, what?
I was like, when? I was like, when did she say that? So like, yeah, it's like the first interview.
Why is she even applying for a job right now? What?
She doesn't even talk about it at all in the first episode about like her wanting to go to LA. Like she even says she's like she needs to go to LA, the West Coast.
She's like, I don't know if I'm made for the West Coast, and I'm like, where's the story going? Maybe. What are we talking about right now? She needed money. The whole point of it, I guess, is that like her husband cut off her credit cards. Which by the way, if you're the she-wolf of Wall Street, you would have a freaking bank account in the like Virgin Islands, like private, like
all the smart.
Don't call yourself a she-wolf of Wall Street if you ain't the she-wolf of Wall Street, okay? Like that's number one. Number two, if you're a diamond dealer like you were last week, you would have diamonds stashed somewhere in some crazy safe somewhere hidden. Number two, okay. Number three, what makes you going on? Now you could go up to be a sports agent.
Like what are you talking about, girlfriend?
Like she's like negative.
No, you were a cheerleader for 1 second, and you're like, I know sports, y'all.
Like,
I'm gonna be a sports
agent. My boyfriend was quarterback. I think is that the right sport? I'm gonna be a sports agent. Like it was just so random, and like I didn't need it. I could have just had her calling like a credit card company to be like, can I have a new credit card?
That's it. That's all I needed. Because the next like phone call, I guess she makes, is to book a flight. I didn't know that you had to call your agent via Zoom to book a fucking flight anymore.
I can't. Like her lines, I was like, I don't know how Cammy does it. Like how she keeps a straight face.
Yeah,
because she's so ridiculous. Like
I know. I wonder if she reads her lines and she's like, so when did this happen? Like how many of my 17 scenes in between are missing from the script? She's like, did my scenes get cut out? Like she's like, I feel like I'm just like talking to somebody about being an agent. Like I don't understand.
She's just all over the place. Like she was She-Wolf of Wall Street. Fine. Take that title. Like even the husband's name is Gecko. Like Gordon Gecko, which was that movie Wall Street, not Wolf of Wall Street, but the original one.
Oh, I don't know.
With Michael Douglas. Anyways,
that
you know that one. He's Gordon Gecko
money or whatever. So, money ball.
Make money.
Like, I don't know. Don't ask me these
Anyways, whatever. So her last name's Gecko. Okay, guys, we got it. Cool. Like you got the Wolf of Wall Street thing going on. Then you have the diamond dealer thing going on too. Fine, I'll buy that. Because you wanted to do the uncut gems. Cool. But now you're like a sport agent who applying for jobs in California?
Like when did that even happen? Like she didn't even mention it one time in the entire episode.
Anyways, guys, we're getting off. We're going off track. It's just too much.
So yeah, she's tried to book a flight. She can't book a flight because all of her cards are canceled. So then her final call is to Chad, and she's like, yeah, like I don't understand like why the cards are canceled. And he's like, yeah, that's really weird. Like when are you gonna come back though? Like so he just like kind of like
clearly did it.
Clearly he was the one that did it.
Like you can't be a boss ass bitch and like have your husband be able to cut off your credit cards. Like that doesn't
like it doesn't make sense. Like none of what she does or like her situations don't make sense.
And it was the same thing with Hermione, right? Like you're trying to sell us this thing where you're like this boss ass mob wife. Meanwhile, you couldn't
have to
do
pick
anything.
A side. You literally have to pick a side and like choose like what your character is going to be. Like it's not believable if like she doesn't have her own fucking credit card. Like come on.
Like if he was following her, which she already was on top of that, that's different. That's totally believable. Yeah.
Anyway, so then Smithers comes in, also flawless
again.
Skin.
I was like, he's alive? Oh my god.
Everybody's still alive. He comes in and he's like, I think somebody's watching you. And she's like, it's either my father or my over possessive husband. I'm like, wow, you really did get into the same situation as like your dad, basically like being the over possessive. And she's like, I have an idea. Her idea is wearing a motherfucking wig in a pawn shop.
Yeah.
I was dead at the fact that Monica Posh made this.
She was like, hold on, Smithers. I know my next plan. Right, and I was sitting there being like, what is she going to do? Oh my God, what is she going to do? And then I was like, this was your plan.
Monica freaking Posh.
You still had the wig in town. like,
where did you keep it? You kept it in your, she was like, just in case I need to put this wig back on. I'm going to bring it to Riverdale. So yeah, so she's literally the next scene. She's wearing this Monica Posh wig in a pawn shop, and she's selling off her glamorous egg. And she wants to get cash. And she also asked for a gun. She asked for a gun, right?
Yeah,
am I wrong? Asking for that? Yeah.
She's like, you have a cute little gun over there. Cute little gun.
And cute little, pew pew. Yeah. Anyway, so then it cuts to Betty, and she's sleeping at home, and she has a nightmare of the TBK kind of standing. Oh,
was he wearing a trash
bed.
Bag over his head? Oh my God. Okay.
It was like the TBK coming in. So then she has a little nightmare. She wakes up and she hears a noise. So she goes downstairs with a gun and she's like ready to fucking shoot.
Now she knows how to hold it. She's all like FBI, like trained.
She's like super FBI now. And instead of the TBK, thank God it's not a murderer, it's Polly Pocket. And she's like, oh my God, like what are you doing here? And already
she's just not looking good. Sis,
she ain't looking right.
Sis is not looking good. She didn't have in that 7 years, she aged the most right there.
She had like that
eyeliner. Oh
girl.
You must have hit up the trailer park on your way home because that shit's not looking tight. She looked bad and it made me really sad. Like it was one of these moments where like I was happy that they brought this character back from season 1 and whatever. It's like her sister, but her whole thing made me so sad this episode. And it got really real. Like Riverdale finally got real. Serious issues up in here.
For sure. So Betty says, I'm gonna make you a cup of tea. Let's like have a chat really quickly. Like let's catch up. And Betty has a really cute moment with her where she basically apologizes. She's like, sorry, I called you a bitch on that phone call that one time. She's like, I'm real sorry about that. I'm sorry for abandoning you essentially when you went to the farm. But at the same time, like in defense to Betty, like of course it wasn't her fault. She was a kid. She was literally 17 years old when it was all happening. Polly was a couple of years older than she was, so she knew a little bit better. Yes, she kind of fell into some kind of shady shit, and she tried to save. She did end up saving her mom and her sister from this.
Literally, she saved your life.
So like, I don't know.
You should be
like,
sitting there saying sorry to her for always having her head on straight, and you're a freaking train wreck over here.
Yeah, but I mean, it's to your point. I think it's one of those things where it's like 7-year time jump. Like people don't always have like a cakewalk of a life.
This was
and, like,
always
Polly,
right?
happening.
Polly started from the trauma that she had to deal with from her boyfriend freaking dying, murdered, and then having his the twins. So I get it. Like she's had a really messed up like upbringing, but like, yeah, the 7 years, I don't know.
It was hard. It was hard to kind of see them try to like bond again after 7 years.
It's hard because this happens.
Yeah,
and it's true. One sibling is like successful and like she's on her this crazy journey of being an FBI agent, but this one like got stuck in this small town and like couldn't get out of whatever she was in, and like it was just very sad.
Yeah, it was sad to see.
Having said that, I'm excited to see her like come up.
Like move on.
Up of Polly Paul.
Like get up there, girl. Yeah, for sure. I think that like now there's room for her to like heal, but I feel like we also got that a little bit too, right? Like we kind of got that moment where she was trying to heal herself. I mean, we'll see what happens at the end of this episode. We'll talk about that. But at the very end, she's like, "We've all really missed you." So that was really sweet for her to hear that.
Ultimately, they can't keep bringing these characters back for just a crutch storyline. Like I do want them to bring this character back and like improve her life, make her get stronger, make her be like, this is the life I want to live. I'm going to be stronger for my family. Like, let's see a success story. Don't just use her as another storyline and be like, oh, she's fucked up again, you know?
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like that's what's happening. That's exactly what's happening. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so she's like, we've all missed you. The one thing that I was kind of upset about was like Betty never decided to come home one time. Like, didn't she say that she's going to come home for Thanksgiving? Guys,
like
7 years,
so drastic.
Man.
Like you didn't even come home to see your sister, your nephews, like your niece, like nothing.
That's hard for me to believe that she was so dedicated to her work that she didn't even want to come home.
Like for Christmas, Thanksgiving, like
come on, guys. No one does that. Because she's still in her early 20s. It's not like you leave home and like literally never
come back. Like, yeah, it's a little
it's a little extreme. So the next morning, Polly, like you find out that Polly works at a nightclub from Alice, and Betty's out here like, oh, would she be doing that out there with like all of her things? Like, is that even a good idea? And Alice is like, you have no right to like judge anybody. Like that's like not your place. And while they're arguing, they get a knock on the door, and Tony's there, and
she's like, Betty's like, me? And she's like, no, your mom. I gotta talk business now. Like adult shit.
Yeah, you're not important.
Like you're not enough right now. Love Tony.
Yeah, so Tony basically is like, look, Alice, they wrote in the Riverdale paper basically that they're talking shit about Tony, saying that she like moonlights as a bartender and a singer at a bar, and like was some kind of teacher she is, like just trying to run her name down.
The reason for that was because to like get her fired from being a guidance counselor.
Yeah, I guess like to like delegitimize like her place at Riverdale, which is like pretty fucked up. So anyway, they're like, well, we got to hit back somehow. So then it cuts to Jughead writing and then talking to Archie on the phone really quickly. Archie asks him to write something for Pop. It was a really quick scene, but basically he's like, can you write something for Pop for his retirement party?
So cute.
Jughead was like, I'm down. One of the things that I noticed during that scene was we didn't get any like flip moments, like a moment with Archie and Jughead and a moment with Betty and Veronica.
I was gonna bring this up, and I'm glad you're saying that, because I do think that there were some dynamics like a Betty and Veronica and an Archie and Jug that I do think that in 7 years they would have had a conversation. Like they would have
one that we would have
been like, hey, bro, like even Reggie and Archie, like even if Reggie did go off the rails and like whatever, like these guys were like buddies, and usually guys are more like, hey, like what, like you good? Okay, cool, what's like whatever, like done.
Yeah.
For them to have no communication, it's very weird. Having said that, I do feel like they just kind of pick up where they left off because they are guys and like they're so whatever.
Yeah. That's true.
But and also, like, I'm excited to see what happens next episode.
Oh, what's happening next episode? Anyway, we'll see. I feel like this is a whole long season.
Well, in this episode, Jughead moves in at the end, and I don't think Archie wanted that. Archie didn't want that.
Oh my god! We were gonna see how that pops out. So speaking of Reggie, it cuts to Archie and Reggie at Archie's house. And Reggie basically says, we can check the house, but like, I don't know if anything's going to be in there. He does a quick search and all the ghoulies are basically standing out over them. And yeah, there's nothing that he can find. And then Archie says, interesting, it seems like somebody tipped off the ghoulies. And as he's leaving, he sees Polly like kind of in the corner of his eye as he's leaving. You'd think that Polly, who's like probably got a drug problem at this point, would be hiding or like run out the door if she knew that Archie was there.
She probably didn't even realize, you know?
We're like giving her like the story.
Like she's gone.
We're like, poor. She was so cracked out of her mind she couldn't realize. Yeah. Oh, it's so sad. Jeez. So then it cuts to Pops and Jughead is interviewing / talking to Pops, like trying to get his life story or whatever. And he sees the debt collectors through the window. And as they're coming in, he like literally like books it. He like fucking flips over the counter and like hides on the side. And he's like, don't tell them I'm here. Like, these are the debt collectors that are coming for me. And Tabitha covers for him when they come in and they're like, where is this guy? And she was really funny and cute about it. She was like, Jughead. She was like, I don't remember what a stupid ass name like that. Yeah. She's like, I would know if there was someone with that dumb name in here. And they like give her the card, like, call me whenever you hear about him. And then once they leave, he like comes out and he's like, thanks so much, I really appreciate it. And she says she offers him the waiter job that he was like hoping for.
Yeah.
She's like, if you want it, it's yours. And he's like, thanks so much. Like, just like, if you can, like, tell them the next time you see them.
I was like, you're asking for a lot right now.
real quick pause on that. I was actually feeling, I don't know if they did it with the camera or the editing or just the acting, or maybe it's just my speculation, but it really does seem that like Tabitha is like a no shit girl. Like, she is someone who's not down for like any bullshit, and she's going to just like tell him how it is. Like, Jughead's always so used to like people just kind of like taking him in and taking care of him and whatever. I think for the first time, like, Tabitha is going to be the person to be like, you got to clean up your own messes. You got to figure this out on your own. So like, you make your money, you pay your debts. Like, let's like figure out yourself. And I really, really like that angle for Jughead, because I feel like the fact that he's kind of coming in being like, I don't know how to write a book and everybody's running after me.
Yeah, he's
like,
moping. Like,
he's moping. Like, who needs to deal with that? And I really hope that she shapes him up, because I think that that's like what her character is like at least angle to do right now. And I'm down for it. So then it cuts to Veronica and Reggie talking. So like, that's what I mean. Back to what you were saying earlier. Veronica's scenes just seem so like disjointed. Like, where are you?
Very
where
disjointed.
are you now? Like,
why is it taking you so long to like get your hands on like cash? So now she has the cash. Now she wants a car. Why would you go to your dad's like worker's place? Go to a different dealership. He's gonna. Yeah.
So she asked Reggie for a car. She's like, I'll pay you in cash. Also, I don't really know why she wants a car. Like, is she going to drive back to New York? Like, is she going to drive across the country to asked this LA
the same
gig?
question. I was like, you have friends over town. You walk everywhere. So just walk.
Just walk, girl. How'd you get there? Did you take an Uber? Like, just Uber
like,
around.
Get Smithers to drive you. Like, doesn't he have a car?
Like, I don't get it. Yeah, but essentially Reggie doesn't want to even sell her a car. He says like, why don't you just ask your dad? I'm sure he'll help you. Even like after all this shit like that's been going on, like, I'm sure like he'll be fine with it. Then it cuts to Betty and Archie talking in her room again, and he tells her about Polly. He basically is like this is what's happening to Polly.
I love how he's so concerned for her. Like, to me, it's such a normal like thing that you would experience in this relationship between him and Betty, for him to worry about Polly, her sister. And we don't really get a lot of that, because like a lot of the characters don't have siblings, but for him to like look out for her specifically, to be like, is she okay? Like, let's make sure she is. I love that. Like, I loved it.
It was I loved it. So then it cuts to Betty's like so pissed about the ghoulies. She's like, when do we get to kick their asses? A pretty boss ass moment where she's like ready to crack some knuckles.
Also, like, how crazy is it that like the Coopers live beside that house? Like, if that was Alice, she would be like, get the fuck out of here. Like, you can't live by my house. Like, what are you?
You're like a reporter. Wouldn't you at least have messaged like Mary and been like, yo, like your tenants are fucking drug dealers. Like, what the hell's going on in that house? Like, I have two twin children living with me.
Door.
Like, if anything, it's a dangerous situation to be in. Like, I don't understand why you would. Anyway, whatever. So then we're going too far.
Yeah.
So then it cuts to Kevin, Fangs, Archie, Betty, and Sweet Pea coming up with a plan to break in and break some skulls. And it was
Love
a really
the scene. Loved it. Love so cute. Scene. Love the music.
So everybody's rolling in. There's some music playing. They like, I mean, I didn't know if they had to like literally break every single window in the entire house.
Someone was like, Sweet Pea, why did you have to break the back doors? Like, calm down.
Like everybody was already inside. It was like smash, smash, smash. I was like, guys, you didn't have to break every fucking window. So they break the windows, get inside. They beat everybody up. It was a really cool scene. It was kind of like a trailing, like almost like a one shot.
Like a one shot, yeah.
Everybody beating everybody up, and then they arrest them all. Once they arrest everybody, they find Jingle Jangle upstairs, and that's it. They're all going to jail. So he gets his house back.
As per Betty Cooper, FBI agent, like she's arresting them, not Sheriff Keller.
Not Sheriff Keller or her like serial killer brother. Like,
it's wherever the F he went. Yeah.
Yeah. So then it cuts to Tony, Kevin, and Alice, and they're all talking at school. And it turns out that Hiram is planning to unincorporate the town, and Archie's there too because he's the one.
Literally, like as they said it, I was like, "What does that mean?" And then like they had to explain it.
What does it mean, y'all? And it basically means that the town gets nothing from the state. Like, there's no government funding once he unincorporates. So it's like basically the town is going to die, without funding. And Hiram and Archie says Hiram's finally going to get what he wants: the death of Riverdale. Again, going back to the idea of like, why does he want the death of Riverdale? Like, I still don't understand how you can hate a town so much.
And like what we were saying last episode, really quickly, guys, in our podcast last week, we didn't understand it because we were like, if he hates Riverdale, just like why can't you just demolish Riverdale and make a new Riverdale with like expensive homes,
like a better one,
build another town and destroy Riverdale? Like, what did Riverdale ever do to you? Like
still call it Riverdale, but like make it your Riverdale, more
upscale, and like sell, like do a casino or like whatever you were gonna do.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It just doesn't make. I don't get why he has to create a new town.
Yeah, there must be. I feel like I'm maybe hoping for too much, but like I can see them going and having Hiram have this like big moment where he's like, Riverdale, every single time I looked at Sweetwater River, I remember
it ruined my family or whatever.
It ruined my family. It ruined this. It ruined, like, maybe we'll get a little bit more into Hiram and why he's being so evil.
Yeah.
So then it cuts to Betty helping Archie clean the house. Oh my God, we're getting to the moment.
Oh, we are getting closer with that broomstick.
And it's really cute because Archie's kind of like coming up with like things to say to Betty, like just randomly being like, oh yeah, like we should all like hang out together sometime soon, like all four of us. And she's like, yeah, that would be great. And you can tell that like she's already like feeling some like weird vibes.
Okay,
like, I was watching their eyeballs.
That though, like
you didn't.
I didn't. It was just very like he's like, okay, cool,
yeah.
And then like I just thought they were awkward because they haven't seen each other in 7 years.
I mean, there's that, but also I feel like there was
do you want pizza? Woo? And she's like, okay. And he's like, oh wait, like I'm sweaty though, like I gotta go shower.
And she's like, shower. Yeah.
She's like, me too. Am I dirty?
She's like, me?
She's like, let me go next door. And he's like, okay. And then it just cuts to that scene. So like I was real talk, guys. I've been waiting for this like since the pilot episode.
Yeah.
But for me, it was a little too drastic. Like it like cut from like nothing to that. Like they didn't have a moment to even like look like here. If they were drunk, maybe it would have like incited something to be like, we're drunk, like let's just get lit, like whatever.
Let's get silly. Yeah.
He was just gonna call for pizza, and then this happened. So like, yeah, don't get me wrong, like the scene was hot. Yeah, it was just I think the way it like triggered, it could have been a little bit more like organic, I think.
Okay.
But whatever.
I mean, I did feel it because it felt awkward. It felt like it had that moment of like awkward. Are they into each other? Are they just like
but that's what I mean. It's okay to be awkward, but like I didn't feel that like we gotta have sex right now. Like I'm looking at you like that. Like he didn't even take his shirt off. Like maybe if he had like gone like this and she was like, oh shit, like if she's, you know what I mean? Like I didn't see that part of it that I've seen before, you know?
Before. I don't know, but at the same time, like we have to, like I also have to like see these guys as adults and like
no, you're 100% right.
You're 100% right. So like it's different when you're like you don't get those like innocent like hee moments. Like it's like we're adults, we're both just horny and we
and I totally love that like after the fact because they do say that exact thing and I'm like that's awesome. Like that's great.
Like that's the realness.
Loved it. Yeah. I just
needed something a little bit more.
Yeah, they've inserted little things along the way, and I was waiting for those, and I didn't really get them this episode. So that, but I like the scene was like
fucking hot. It
was. I was starting to doubt it. I was starting to be like, this is not going to be in this episode. Like they're not going to do this.
They're not going to do it. And we get the Barchie sex scene. I don't even know what more to say outside of like if you guys saw it. So they have
sex in the shower.
In the shower, which seems kind of uncomfortable, but it's fine. Like for your first time with each other, you're going to be like,
that's true. It was their first time together too.
I mean, it was hot like visually.
No, yeah.
But they do talk about the fact that like it was the first time since like high school. Yeah. Damn. Like they'd never done it with each other. So it was really like considering it's like a CW show, I was like, yo. I was like the montage, the sexing, the kissing, the
KJ seemed very into it. KJ was like he seemed very into it.
I was feeling
I think he was ready to do that.
He was like,
so Twitter blew up. Twitter blew up. And they were like, are you happy now? You happy now? You got your scene. I'm like, guys, why do you guys get so heated?
Just enjoy it.
Just enjoy the ride. Fine. Varchie could be endgame. Like it's probably going to happen soon. Let us have like 3 weeks of this. 3 weeks. Okay. Like just enjoy the ride. Like people get so into it and they're like, you didn't even enjoy it. It wasn't even like, it was so like that. It wasn't even emotional.
People
they just want to fuck, so like let them fuck. Like who cares?
Okay, fine, whatever. I'll take it. Like I'll take it.
You were
it's
like,
fine.
I'll take it.
It's all good. It's all good. But up in the hood.
I just look at these tweets and I'm like, guys, you guys are looking at this from like such a like serious lens. Like just roll with it. Fun. It's Riverdale. It's Riverdale. Because let me tell you, Jughead's probably gonna go fuck Tabitha next week. So get ready for that because your heart's gonna break next week too.
You're like, they're never gonna get back together ever again. Oh my god. Yeah, just get over it. They're all adults. We're all grown adults now, guys. Just get over
and cut to after I hope they scrub that shower real clean because after the ghoulies have been there. But then after the fact, I love that bedroom scene and how they were just like giddy. They were just like giggling and they were just like, oh, we haven't like done this. Like, oh
so they're in the room and like they're just like, changing and he's like, what just happened, Betty?
Yeah.
He's just so like, whoa, I just had sex with Betty.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, but that doesn't like change things around like about us. And she's like, yeah, we're still like friends. Like it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And she's like, we're both single adults. We're allowed to have fun. Yeah. Like it's not a big deal. Twitter can calm the fuck down. She's like, Veronica's a married woman.
Yes.
And Jughead and I are not dating. So like there's no reason
it was a very important
to get together.
For them to say that because she was like, me and Jughead have not spoken in 7 years and Veronica's literally married to someone else. So
and a lot of people were actually speculating or frustrated about the fact that the Barchie scene was going to happen because people were assuming that she was still with Glenn because they had that kiss moment at the end. But it seems that they're just like casually dating. So like she's just an adult having some sex with a childhood friend. That's all good. Yeah. And like, come on, they're both hot. Like, why wouldn't you just want to fucking fuck somebody that you had cravings for this whole time? Like,
exactly.
It's a thing that people do. Like,
and it's gonna happen more. So get ready.
You're like, don't worry, we're not.
We ain't stopping there. She needs to do it on his bed because she's been dreaming about that bed since she was 13 years old.
Bathroom, kitchen, basement, garage. Like, let's do it.
I can't wait for next week.
Jalopy. Imagine. So that was a really cute moment. Then it cuts to Pop's retirement party. And that was kind of cute. Like,
so cute.
I guess half the town was there, or was like a few people were in the town. Jughead has his little speech. He says something really nice where he's like, Pops is like a lighthouse in the storm. I thought that was really cute.
Yeah.
And he says, "You gave us a home, Pop. Thank you." It was really cute. Archie gave him like a Bulldogs like Letterman jacket, which was really cute because Pops goes like, "I would never got to graduate." So like it was such a nice moment for him.
He's like, so I'm gonna take this jacket with me forever.
I'm gonna hold on to it and go to Florida. And then it cuts to Cheryl talking to Tony in Pops. And
so she's now left the house.
She's left the house for the first time. And even Tony says it. She was like, "Wow, I'm kind of surprised that you're here." She's like, "I didn't think you were gonna show up, man. So thanks for coming." And she says, like, "Can you help with the school? Can you give us money? Like, can you help fund us or anything? Because you're a fucking millionaire." And Cheryl's like, "I really can't. Like, it's gonna start off great, and then like all of like everything that I do, everything gets corrupted." So she's still like feeling like bummed about her life and like how everything she touches turns to shit. But Tony kind of has a really cute moment with her.
She's really cheesing me out though. Like, she's really like it's like the Debbie Downer. Like, it's like every moment, like Tony's like, "Hey, like this," and she's like, "Unfortunately, TT, no, I can't, because like they're gonna come for me. Unfortunately, TT, I can't, because like I'm gonna ruin everything." I'm like, oh my god.
Girl, believe in yourself. It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's not that bad. That's so funny. So she has a really cute moment where she says, "Cheryl, would you do it for me? Like, if our love meant anything, like can you help for that reason at least?" And at the very end, she kind of like changes her mind. Then it cuts to Archie talking to everyone in the lounge. So we do get to see them in the lounge again, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's like, "Riverdale's kind of in trouble, but I have an idea. We can all become teachers." So everybody's gonna be a teacher now. It's like, you become a teacher.
Everyone's like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, everyone was so confused.
And like one of the most important things is like, you guys are not teachers.
Yeah. None of you have like a teacher's degree whatsoever.
But then they made it make sense because they were like, if we become a private school, we don't need teaching degrees. Exactly. And I'm like, give it to Riverdale. They made that shit make sense.
The writers really like tied up that loose end. Yeah. So this is when Archie basically says like, "Veronica, like so many people."
She's like, "I don't live here. I live in New York City because I'm the shoe of Wall Street."
She's like, "I don't need this. I'm going to LA to become a sports agent."
And then he's like, "Okay, you can just commute into the city, whatever." She's like, "Yeah, that's true, actually, yeah."
She's like, "Okay." Yeah, it was so easy to convince. She's like, "True. I guess I'm gonna come."
And she made a good point. She's like, it's my dad ruining everything, so I should probably be the one to help you guys
out. She's like, if anything, I should be the one like doing everything. Yeah. Instead of you and Tony. Betty says that she's in. She's like, "Yo, my family's fucked. I gotta stick around anyway."
Also, doesn't Veronica have a shit ton of money? Why can't she fund the whole thing?
I don't know. I mean, I guess like she's like tied up.
She sells diamonds.
Her money's tied up with her man. She can't even get a fucking credit card at this point. And Jughead is also in because he's like, "I'm a deadbeat writer. He's like, what else am I doing else to do,
as per usual."
And then they have a really cute moment where they say like, "Bulldogs forever," which I thought was kind of cute.
He says it, and they're like, okay. He's so like, cute. Yeah. Like, I just love him. He's so cute.
It was kind of funny because it almost felt like it was like a 12 o'clock like nighttime shoot, and like KJ was just like, "Can we just do this live real quick and get it over with?" Because it's so corny. But it was cute. So then it cuts to Tony, and she's talking in front of the school board. So it's like, this is like the voting day. This is like the big thing.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool. She talks about equity and equal access to all education and like how important that is. And she says, with a generous donation, and she kind of like side eyes to Cheryl.
My girl.
She's like, "Wink, wink. Thanks, Sarah."
See you later in the closet.
Yeah. I was like, "What?"
You're like refining an accent.
Like, okay. Oh man. I'm tired.
It's time. I'm tired.
It's tired. We can make and then she says like we're gonna make Riverdale a private school, so we don't need any help from anybody, and also we can hire all these teachers that
don't have teaching degrees.
Then it cuts to all of them kind of like standing up, which I thought was really cute. She's like, it's like Sergeant Archie Andrews, Betty Cooper, like all these people are standing up, and I was like, I kind of like got excited. Oh my god!
They're like, Veronica, which occupation are you today? She-wolf or Uncut Gems or Sports Agent? Which one should we call you? Which one do you want to be called today?
Veronica Gecko, the she-wolf of Bond Street. I'm dead.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why this makes me laugh. Oh, so funny.
I did think it was a cute moment though. Outside of that,
no, it was super cute.
And then Hiram's like, cool. And then he says, my final motion as mayor is to uncorporate the town.
He's literally like, cool.
Yeah, he's like,
this
fine.
Is all basically null and void, and y'all are fucked.
Yeah. So he basically says, it's like a majority vote. They all raise their hands, and then the people who are for it raise their hands.
Yeah.
I don't know if I just missed it. I wasn't like looking up while I was
pretty tied to me.
It looked pretty tied to me.
And he's like, oh, we won.
He's like, oh, done.
I was like, wait, did you count? Like,
I'm like, you didn't even like look like. I was like, was it that much of a difference that we didn't see it? That like, that's like a pretty big decision. That's like a pretty fucking big decision. You think that they would like vote like. You send out ballots, write it down. Like you do like
he's
an
like everyone's hands in the back, hands in the
anybody
like is that how you're gonna do your freaking vote? But it was interesting because Reggie put his hand up for Hiram.
Yeah, so it's like betrayal, I guess. And then they're like pink, Riverdale is now officially dissolved. So I think the school can remain open because it's private, but like now Riverdale as a town doesn't exist.
Like you can't hop on a train to Riverdale.
What? Where the buses? No buses? It's like all the buses are burned down. Yeah, just like disappeared into the void, like chaos, like from Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Then it cuts to Jugs at Pop's, and he is writing a story, and he gets a call from Sam, and they say that they love the story that of Pop that he sent.
Yeah.
Did we talk about that really quickly? Did we mention that he got a call?
I don't think so.
I don't think we mentioned
the last one was that the fact that he had to write something.
He had to write something. He was writing it down. I don't know where that was. I think we got too excited about the Barchie sex scene. I think that's literally what happened. Like, we fully just like missed it. So yeah, so it's him basically saying like shit's about to go down like in Riverdale in his narration. But he gets a call from Sam, and they say like the story that he submitted to Sam to show the book publishers, they're like, we love the story about Pop, we love this like depressing tragedy Americana storyline. And this is when Jug, like you can tell like he's not feeling super hot about it. He's like, I already did this. I already betrayed my town. Like I don't know if I want to betray my town a second time. And he even like looks over to Tabitha, like you can tell that he's really uneasy about it, but Sam's like, you literally have no choice, like you have to write this story now, so it's too late. And he's like, okay. So then he leaves. Then it cuts to Alice and Betty at home, and Betty's like, Polly's not home yet, and Alice is like, sorry girl, like that's your problem now, like you got to fix this because you like yelled at her and you got her pissed off. And I think we might have missed that part too. My notes got all types of messed up, guys. So
that's okay.
It's all good.
So Alice, and that's the thing, Alice is so like gone, like she doesn't checked out. I
mean,
she's like, you go figure it out, I don't have the energy. Like
she literally grabs like a glass of wine. It's like 11 o'clock in the morning.
She's like pouring herself like
pours a glass of wine and she like pieces out. And I was like, that's grandma life, man. Like you living full time with twins, like that's what it'll do seriously to you. So basically she has to like deal with it. Then it cuts to Veronica talking to Chad on Zoom, and she basically tells him like, I'm staying in Riverdale. And he's like, that's like weird, why are you doing that? And she was like, what's weird is you freezing all the credit cards and following me, and if you don't unfreeze the credit cards,
in
I'm
30 gonna come minutes.
For you. I am the She-Wolf of Wall Street.
Wait, I have like, it. Hold on. She's like, no.
Oh, you wrote it down. Okay.
She's like, what's absurd is you freezing our credit cards, especially because I made most of the money in our joint accounts. Okay, well, you should have had your own separate She-Wolf account.
That's your fault. Yeah.
So if they're not unfrozen in the next, say, 30 minutes, I will consider it an act of aggression, like you having me followed. And the next time you see me, it'll be on Wall Street, on the floor, when the markets open Monday morning. And this She-Wolf will tear off your throat in front of all the other alpha dogs. I was like, girl, you're getting into too many dog things. Like
too many dogs, puppies, geckos, things, wolves,
like, She-Wolf, Shakira. I burst out laughing when she said that. I was like, this is ridiculous. Camila Mendes.
You're like, yourself big together, ups to, girl. Big ups to Camila Mendes for remembering that entire fucking but also script.
Staying
straight faced. She's like 7 years later, you guys are giving Veronica the craziest fucking hippy dippy like lines. Like, come on. Anyway, so at the very end of it,
why would you have to come and wait on for Monday morning? Why can't you just go and kill him at his house on Friday night?
Now. Well, I guess because like the stock markets are not.
Yeah, but like, why do you have to?
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, sorry guys.
So at the very end, he kind of like cheekishly smiles. He like smirks as if like it's not over yet. And he's like, are we done now? And she was like, just unfreeze the cards. And she like closes her laptop. Then it cuts to Archie texting Betty about Polly because Polly's like still not missing for like a full day. You're like, oh, you got a text. So while he's getting the text, he gets a knock on the door, and it's Jughead coming by.
Hold on. We're skipping over the text.
Oh, okay. What you gonna say?
Hey, are you okay? And she's like, hey. She's like, yeah. How's your sister? And she's like, okay. And like you could tell, he like wants to ask more.
Yeah.
Like he wants to keep the conversation going.
But
then there's a knock on the door, and it's Jughead.
But he can't. The knock on the door is Jughead, and he comes by and he basically says like, now that you have the gigantic house, can I like not be in the bunker anymore? But he's been lying to everybody, saying that he's staying at the 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Like, which I'm like, first of all, it's all your guys' fault for believing that he can afford to stay at the 5 seasons. And he's like, yeah, can I stay with you? And he lets Jughead stay.
Right.
So that's what you meant. You're like, oh, he's not going to be able to like sneaky deaky around with.
That's the thing. When you saw his face, when Jughead walks in, did you think Archie was really happy in that moment?
No, because I mean, that's the thing. To your point, I think that like they're not like as best of friends as they used to be, right? Like it's not like, come crash on my couch, bro. Like it's not that moment anymore. So it's more just like, hey, would you want to stay? And he's like, fuck, I can't smash my
and I think because they were just texting, I think he was like getting excited about that.
Yeah.
To be like, okay, this can be something, or like just continue on, whatever. But then the minute he walks in, he's like, shit, like things are complicated now.
It's like I won't be able to like have sex all the time now.
Yeah, like on the stairs, in the like kitchen. Hopefully they still can though, because I'm down for that.
Like, we'll see.
Yeah.
Then the final moment is Betty calling Polly, and she's apologizing on the phone.
I love the way they did this.
Yeah, it was really cool. She's like, I didn't mean to judge you. I miss you. Just come home. I hope you're safe. And as she's talking, it cuts to the truck, the TBK truck potentially, or the hitchhiker killer. She be running.
There's like hair,
she's running in her like
you could tell it's her jacket. I'm like, oh my god.
And then it cuts, and that's the end. Riverdale, the end. Like
that was a good ending. It was a good ending.
It was a good ending.
Oh, I'm so scared for her. I don't want her to die.
Yeah, and it was cool because it's like these episodes, like to your point, it doesn't end the way that the old Riverdale episodes used to end, where it was like da 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 da. It was more like, oh shit. Like,
I mean, this was still pretty like intense.
Like this was serious, but it wasn't like this ramping up crazy music. Like it didn't over push, like it didn't push you into the drama. Like it was a natural moment. Like Polly's missing.
The way they edited that was really, I was like,
it was creepy, and it was just
creepy. Yeah.
And you don't get this moment of her like scream. You don't hear her scream. You just like,
and like imagine if she can't ever speak to her sister again, and like that's the last time that was her message to her sister. Like, it was
Do you think that that's going to be the resolve for Polly? Like, do you want to see her survive this?
I definitely want to see her survive. I definitely want to see Polly like come back and just like be like a really strong like mother for her kids, sister, daughter. Are we going to see that? I don't know. I don't know if they'd kill her off at this point. I don't know.
Like maybe the TBK has like a rehab program.
I don't know.
I'm just joking. That was a bad joke. Okay, now that the episode is done, let's get into our recap roundups.
Recap roundups.
Best moment. My best moment, obviously, I gotta give it to my peeps, my Barchies.
The Barchies.
Definitely the Barchie scene. Loved it. Hot, steamy, first time.
Sexy, sexual.
Like I said, I think it could have started a bit better. I think like it was a little too like, let's order pizza and then like now they're having sex. But I also did appreciate the aftermath of them being like, we're adults, we can do whatever we want. Like we don't need to like answer to anyone at this point. And, like we can do whatever the fuck we want, and I love that.
Yeah, like they're adults now. Like they can do whatever. Like they can screw or have.
And like real talk, the way Betty said, she's like, we've been wanting to do this since like
high school.
So
like
it's.
And it was cute that they didn't. I did like the fact that they didn't have this like crazy ramp up to it where it's like, ooh, are we really gonna do it? It was just like it felt more natural, kind of random. Yeah, it wasn't like this huge lead up. Like he didn't like buy her flowers and like
No, I didn't need that. I didn't need that.
Exactly. Like this felt like it felt hot and adult.
Yeah,
I liked it.
Yeah.
Mine is gonna go, even though like you mentioned that thing with Veronica standing up saying that she's a teacher. I love the part when they all stand up at the kind of the board voting part where they're like, it's me, Sergeant Archie, and like I don't know, the music that they played, it just made me feel like they're all coming back to save the town. And like,
look, I love this premise. I love the idea that they're all coming back to save the town. It's perfect for them. It is.
It works. Yeah, totally works. And also I wrote down the Barchie scene. Like that was a given.
WTF moment.
WTF moment. I agreed with yours. And then also the Polly ending, because I think I was just like, whoa. First of all, I couldn't even tell it was Polly, and then I saw it and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah,
I'm like, Polly. Save sis.
Save sis. My WTF moment is the fact that like this town got officially dissolved. Like when he said the town is dissolved, I was like,
I'm like, where did it go? Evaporated?
So just disappeared into the void. I was kind of surprised that they got so extreme about it. And so quickly, like without any like vote or anything. It was just like rapid fire. Second episode of the time jump, like the town no longer exists. I was like, wow.
MVP
is gonna go to Tony and Tabitha.
Ooh, double
T's. Yep.
Yeah.
Tony obviously for obvious reasons. Vanessa Morgan is literally carrying the show right now.
Yeah.
And she was carrying a 9 month, 8 month probably
also
baby.
Carrying a baby at the same time.
She's been absolutely killing it. And like when you see her on screen, you're not like, oh, it's this person again. You're like excited to see what she's actually going to be doing and who she's going to be talking to. And like, she has this plan of action and like she's so into it. And like I'm all about her journey. Tabitha, can't wait to see more of you.
Same to both for sure. Yeah. I'm super satisfied with the fact that, for the longest time they've been saying that they're going to give Tony a storyline, and like this is what they gave her.
They gave her like perfect. The whole show.
So good. Yeah. They're like, here is the show. It is for you now.
Yeah.
And yeah, for sure, Tabitha, she wasn't my MVP, but she should have been because she was really cool. I'm really excited for her character.
LVP is, least valuable player is truly like the LVP. It's literally what it means.
I gotta get real.
And I'm excited to see where Polly goes. And I hope they really give her something better than what they gave her up until now.
Yeah.
But she has to be my LVP for this week, just because like Girl, what are you doing with your life? Like, what happened? Like,
what happened? I mean, when you laid it out, like, she had some pretty
I know what
shit
happened. We know what happened. It's just, I just wish you could like get through it and be okay.
I mean, if Cheryl couldn't get through it, then you can get through it. Like, that was her twin brother that got murdered. So,
and you still have babies to like look after. Like, you still have someone here to like anchor you. Hopefully, so like. Whatever. Yeah,
exactly. And it's not like Alice like kicked them out and like didn't want them to like stay. Like, she literally was like, stay with me, I will help take care of the children. Like, anyway, poor Polly. My LVP is gonna go to Hiram. I think he's gonna get LVP quite a bit this season for sure. I was pretty upset with everything that happened. I understand that like there's probably some deeper issue. We didn't even talk about the fact. We didn't even talk about the fact that he like comes for Veronica. He basically like says like, remember what you said to me I remember when I said that. I said something like that like a few episodes ago. I'm like, he's gonna have a moment where he's gonna feel so bitter about something that she said like 7 fucking years ago. It's literally what happened this episode.
Literally,
he's like,
because she was
you like, didn't. Yeah.
She asked for help.
She asked for him to like.
He's like, you're asking me for help, and she's like, and she's like, well, you're not gonna get it because you know like, why? 7 years before, like a little baby.
He literally does exactly what I said was gonna happen. Like, he basically like throws it back in her face. Is like, you call me a poor puppy, and now here I am, and it's your turn to gravel in the mud and roll around in it, and then you can pick yourself up again at time. Like, he just like went off on her, and he was like, just like, it's whatever. So I'm just like, I do want to understand like so his frustration and like where that pettiness is coming from, because
he's frustrated because he hasn't freaking got it in like 7 years probably.
Yeah, like, where's his mistress at? Miss Mulray? Miss Mulray?
Mrs. Mulray.
Where's she at, Miss Mulray? Yeah. Oh, there's the note. It's right underneath that. It says it right there. Veronica and Hiram going to the mayor's office. My note's right there, guys. Thanks.
The best line.
Best line. Where is my best line? Because I don't see it.
It's all the way at the bottom underneath all the moments that we missed.
What? Okay, here I see.
Because our notes were all freaked up.
My best line is gonna go to Betty, and she said when she's saying to Archie in the bedroom, she goes, "You know, it used to be Kevin and I would sneak a peek through that window, hoping you were shirtless." And like, I love that like Archie doesn't respond. He's just like, okay.
Yeah. He's like, look at the drugs. Yeah.
And then also Betty later when she's like, something we've been wanting to do since high school but never got around to, which is having sex. So.
Just circling back on that Barchie said.
Yeah.
Mine is going to Jughead talking about Pops and like the Pops Diner, I guess, where he says it's like a lighthouse in a storm, and if anybody follows the show, Riverdale is the stormiest of storms. Stormy. Let's go through.
Should we get into our peeps?
Yeah. Our peeps. I have three major ones because we're doing this the night before. The first one I have is Postmaster Radio. Can I do it?
Okay.
Best moment, Jughead speech from Pop Tate. Booyah. WTF moment is Jughead mocking the serpents in his book, and Mrs. Crouton. It reminds me of Papa Poutine and Small Fry. Who is Mrs. Crouton?
Mrs. Crouton, she screwed them over like in their plan.
Oh, right? Okay. No. Maybe. I don't remember. I remember hearing it, but I like blanked out.
She screwed them over or something at the school.
Okay. She like leaves. Like, she leaves because like she doesn't want to be a teacher or whatever. Or she got like
she
bought
needs to go get her Caesar salad. That's what she needs to do.
MVP is Archie / CHONI. He says #Tarchie. Would you be down for Archie and Tony getting together? Do you see that happening?
No, they're totally friends.
They're friends, yeah.
Not everything has to be like a romantic ship.
You know? Yeah. It's nice to see them just like as buddies, like figuring things out together. LVP is gonna be. I was like, LVP is gonna be Jughead. I love his speech for Pop, but even more so, I hate that he's lying to his friends, and as Fangs put it, kind of only staying in town just so he can use what's happening in town as a form of plagiarism for his next book. That is the tea. I mean, like, it is kind of true. Like, he is feeding into like what people are saying about him. And his best line is Riverdale and its children will not be at the mercy of Hiram's destructive whims. Ooh. Desamica says his best moment is hashtag Barchie, time jump, WTF moment, Polly running away from that truck. She is not a fast runner. I was like, I mean,
well, it was in slow-mo too.
I mean, also like it's a truck. Like no one can outrun a truck.
Seriously, like, what do you want this girl to coming do? At you.
She's not the fucking Flash. That's the next. That's the other CW show.
Flash.
The
Thursdays
MVP.
on the CW.
It's like Polly, just like
she runs into the show.
She's like, I made it. MVP is Archie and Tony, the ultimate friendship. LVP, Hiram Lodge and Jughead talking bad about the serpents in his book. True story. Best line. Why does this sound like an episode of Succession? When Kevin mentions that.
Nobody watches Succession, okay? Like nobody does.
Kevin,
I tried and it wasn't that great.
Go for it.
I have at Unholy Trinity.
Yeah.
Unholy Trinity.
Yeah.
Trinity. Yeah. Trinity.
Trinity.
Best moment. That sexy shower. Sane. That was also the WTF moment. MVP, Tony and Cheryl for coming through for her. And Tabitha, Betty, Archie, Veronica, anyone that isn't Jughead basically made the
everybody
MVP list.
But yeah.
LVP is Jughead. Best line, if our love ever meant anything to you, help us. Tony to Cheryl. Oh, that's really sweet.
Oh,
that was a really cute scene between the two of them.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was really like sweet. I have one that came in last minute at MTV Horror.
Oh, God, geez, you guys keep
your names silly. Best moment, Barchie shower sex scene. Yes. WTF moment, the publishers liking Jughead's speech about Pops. They're like, what the fuck? MVP is Archie. He was so cute and earnest the whole episode, and he finally gets it in with Betty, so he wins. LVP's Chad. He was even more controlling than I thought. Also LVP, Jughead. The serpents hate him for using them for his novel, and he's just gonna do it again because he has no original ideas. Ooh, burn. And best line, when Betty and Archie talk over each other before they have the shower sex scene. So when she's like, I need a shower. You want to go?
I gotta watch it again. We also have one from at Bax Arches.
Okay.
And her best moment too was Archie and Betty checking each other out before they got into the shower.
See,
I love that you guys picked up. Yeah, I gotta go back and watch.
Yeah, I think you'll appreciate it more now that like it's in.
Did you get? Oh, you got it right. So MTV Horror, you got.
Yeah, I think that's it.
We're just checking our thing, but also, guys, I just love how you guys tweet us, and literally, like everyone was like, "Are you watching? Are you watching? Are you watching?" Like everyone's like, "Are you ready? How are you feeling?"
Are we ready
like
for
after
this?
the scene, they're like, "Are you good? Are you good?" I'm like, "This is our fan base. I love it. Like everyone's so excited with us."
Such an exciting thing to see. I mean, we've all been waiting, y'all.
We've been waiting for it, and it's more. We're gonna get more.
It's more.
You're like, he told me.
BS.
We're getting more.
It's happening again. At this time, I'd like to thank our patrons of the episode, our Rewinder squad, White Nicole, our Living Rewinders, Tina Ann, Soleil, and Kate, and our mommy Rewinders, Becca, Sarah, Tamala, and Grace. Thanks, guys.
And guys, check out our Patreon because we got some cool things for you right there. And it's www.patreon.com/recap_rewind.
And also make sure you guys are checking us out on all of our socials, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. You can also find us on our Google Podcast, Spotify, and iTunes. Like, subscribe, follow, review, and comment to stay engaged with us at Recap Rewind. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.